Hey Internet. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I've uh, I've come out to about the most relaxing area that there is in my neighborhood. I've come out here because I need to be somewhere very calm and very relaxing, so that the fucks don't get too out of control. I came here to talk about a situation, a pretty tragic story that I heard about recently of a hockey player, Johnny Gaudreau. Um, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. Gaudreau, maybe. But when I saw the story, it was it was pretty hard to watch even the surface details. And when I learned more about the rest of the details and some of the things that are being released now, the story almost overwhelmed me in its the depth of sadness and tragedy. Um, so for anyone who doesn't know, this is a guy who was pretty young, early 30s, along with a family member who was out for a bike ride and who was killed by a driver. Now this wasn't an accident. The driver that killed these two people, that ran over these two cyclists. Not only was he drunk, but he was driving very aggressively, very foolishly. Uh, Vehicles had attempted to move over to the center of the road to allow the cyclists room while the vehicles passed, and the driver that murdered the two cyclists had attempted to pass the slow-moving vehicles by going on the right-hand side. It's pretty obvious that the drunk driver had no idea that the cyclists were there, but we can infer a little bit from this. Some of the things that played out prior to this event were the driver who murdered the cyclists was driving aggressively, making attempted passes in an unsafe area, and then when he saw the vehicle in front of them moving over to the middle of the road, they probably assumed that the driver in front of them was playing some sort of road rage game and probably moving out in the middle of the road to prevent them from making an illegal pass. So the drunk driver who murdered the cyclists figured, well, you're not going to block me, I'll just go around you on the right hand side. And when he went around on the right hand side, he learned the reason why the vehicles were going slow, as the cyclists were killed. So this wasn't an accident. This was intentional. Um, the driver of the vehicle who murdered the cyclists was not only drunk, but was actively drinking. That means that they had open liquor in the car while they were driving. Uh, this isn't someone who's trying to get away with things, who had a couple of drinks and trying to get away with things. This is someone who is self-destructive, someone who was obviously going out of their way to put themselves in a position where they're going to hurt themselves and hurt others. And they succeeded. So they got what they wanted, but in the process of doing so, they killed two other people. So, I've got a couple of messages for you. If you drink and drive, fuck you. If you can't drive like a human being and you start road raging and passing people illegally, putting yourself and others in jeopardy, fuck you. If you're a family member or a friend of someone who drinks and drive and you let them continue to drink and drive, fuck you. If you're the cop that had this guy pulled over already and failed to show up at your court date, You live here in North Carolina? Fuck you. Now, I do a fair bit of cycling. I do a fair bit of cycling on roads, but I don't do cycling on roads during the day unless I absolutely have to, and they're very short distances because I live in a place where the drivers don't respect cyclists. But I don't expect drunk drivers to be on the roads. And if you are a drunk driver on the road, fuck you. If you think that there's room for people on the road to be drinking and driving, fuck you. If you're a drinker and you get behind the wheel and you think you can handle it, fuck you. As a cyclist, if you refuse to give cyclists the right of way that they deserve when they're on the road, fuck you. I think that's about all for now. This story was horrifying and tragic, and I watched the court interview of the driver who murdered the two cyclists. I watched his court interview, and not only was there no remorse, I was disgusted that the only thing they could think of was that they had to spend a few extra days in county lockup because it's a long weekend. Well, the only thing I can really hope is that the reason why he wants to get out of county lockup is that so he can finish the job that he started. I hope his self-destructive streak continues, but I hope he takes it without taking anyone else down with him. And if you think someone like that is redeemable, fuck you.